Rent prices keep climbing. But what if your monthly payment could build you wealth instead of draining your bank account? If you're still renting, this might be the perfect time to become a homeowner. Hey, it's Luna Petty, your friendly neighborhood mortgage broker with Unique Financial. I'm going to show you the 4 steps to go from renting to owning your home this year. Step 1, do your research. Before you start shopping, figure out which neighborhoods fit your lifestyle. Look at services that are important to you, like the schools, the parks, the shopping, the commute times. Decide if you want a single-family home, a condo, or a townhome, and what size and features matter most to you. The clearer you are, the easier it is for your realtor to find you the right match. Step 2, save cash. Yes, you'll need money to buy a home. Even with down payment assistance programs, you'll still need money. Beyond the down payment, you'll want money for things like closing costs, moving expenses, utility deposits, and maybe even new furniture or that paint job. I recommend putting your savings in a high yield account so that your money grows while you prepare for your big purchase. Step 3, secure your financing. Before touring homes, get pre-approved. This tells you exactly how much house that you can afford, and it makes your offer stronger. As a mortgage broker, I shop multiple lenders to find the best options and help you plan for closing costs like inspections, title fees, and property taxes. Step 4, find your realtor. Having your own buyer's agent protects you. Instead of relying on the seller's listing agent, your realtor works for you, helping you compare neighborhoods, negotiate offers, and handle a mountain of paperwork. Many will also connect you with trusted movers, inspectors, real estate attorneys, all that can help the process be much smoother. Buying a home is one of the biggest investments that you'll ever make, but it doesn't have to be overwhelming. With the right plan, the right team, and the right strategy, you could also stop paying rent just now and start building your wealth this year. If you're ready to take the first step, reach out to me. Let's map out your path to go from renting to owning. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share so that you never miss the tips and you can save money and get into your dream home that much faster. Welcome to Your Real Talk, the podcast where we take the mystery out of the real estate and home loan industry. I'm your host, Luna Petty, your friendly neighborhood real estate and mortgage broker and straight talking guide to the market. Whether you're in the business or a first-time home buyer, a seasoned investor, or just curious about what's happening in the real estate world, you're in the right place. Each episode, we share expert insights and real tips and strategies to help you win in real estate. And it's not all business here. We sprinkle in some fun and relatable stories along the way. So get comfortable and let's dive into today's episode of Your Real Talk, where we keep it simple, straightforward, and 100% real. Today, my guest is Ariel Bowie, CEO of Financially Flourishing and a behavioral financial advisor. Good morning, Ariel Bowie. Welcome to Your Real Talk. Thank you so much for being on the podcast with me. I'd love to introduce you, but I know you can do a much better job at introducing yourself and giving yourself all the accolades and telling everybody what you're about. So tell the audience, Ariel, what are you about?
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me, Luna, to your podcast. For those of you that do not know who I am, my name is Ariel Bowie. I am the founder of Financially Flourishing, and I am a behavioral financial advisor. What does that mean? Of course, it sounds like gobbledygook. What exactly is a financial advisor? That focuses on behavior. Well, a lot of times you'll hear the term financial advisor and be like, oh, yeah, someone that just manages money, someone that builds financial plans. And absolutely, I do that. But a lot of times you'll run into a person that does financial planning. You get the plan, you're good to go, everything feels great. And then the plan falls apart because you can't stick to it. And things change and shift, and you don't necessarily know how to navigate that. Well, I help you tackle how you can keep your goals and your values aligned to your plan and keep it moving so that you can create generational wealth. And my focus specifically is with women with variable income because when you sit down in front of the advisor and they ask you, what is your monthly income look like? And you're like, well, which month? Is that the $2,000 month, the $20,000 month, or I haven't made anything in the past 3 months? I help you navigate that.
I love it. I love it. Wow, that we need a lot more of that. I feel like I know a lot of women who are doing things. But look, before we get into the serious money talk, I really want to know if you had a large sum of money, unlimited amount, and you can make one big splurge purchase, what's Ariel gonna buy?
That's a really interesting question. And honestly, I'm really not a things type person. I'm really about the experience. But if I was able to do a guilt-free splurge, I'd probably hire a full-time assistant and housekeeper so I can focus completely on my clients, my business, and my family. And the thing about variable income is you're always torn between investing in your business and enjoying the fruits of your labor. So I want to eliminate that completely.
Yeah, I love it. So you kind of alluded to it in your opening. When people hear the term financial advisor, they think somebody's working with millionaires. Even when I hear the term behavioral financial advisor, I'm like, so these people must have high net worth. Is that myth true? How does that hold true for you and your clientele is?
Yes, that's a really good question. So, some of my most successful clients are women earning in the low to higher six figures who do feel financially chaotic despite what their income looks like. So, high earnings don't necessarily mean equal financial confidence. So, the millionaire stereotype misses the real problem. It's not really about how much you make, it's about the gap between knowing what to do with your money and actually doing it.
I love that you brought that up because that's a big gap. So, what makes the difference that you see in a person that actually gets the advice and they hear it versus the person that actually implements that advice that you provide?
For sure. It's definitely a struggle when we're thinking about someone that has variable income specifically, because when you are not sure when your next months of flow, let's just call it flow, are going to come in, then you kind of want to hold off until you get to that point. So you're always waiting until you're getting that next one. So like, oh yeah, I just got 20,000, but I don't know what next month is going to look like, or I don't know if this escrow is going to close. So what do I do? I'll invest next month, or I'll worry about retirement next month. It's really about understanding that we need to figure it out throughout the timeline and not just think about that next moment. Because if you're always thinking about the next moment, you're never going to get there.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I'm being in the real estate industry and knowing that our income comes in and it can be, oh, I made this small deal and I made 2,000, or I sold a multi-million dollar property and I made 30,000. So being able to juggle and be able to figure out when to put that away, like what's one thing you wish that people started sooner when it comes to, I mean, most of the people, I'm in my mid 40s, but I know that there are things that if I if I'm a new agent or if I'm an agent in my 20s that I can do then that would actually benefit me rather than waiting until I make my first $50,000 commission to start putting away.
Absolutely. So, the one thing I wish people understood is that your relationship with money is actually formed by the age of 7. So, in your 20s, the most powerful thing you can do is to start noticing what your patterns are. So, do you avoid looking at your accounts? Do you overspend when you're stressed? Most people try to fix the behaviors without understanding the trigger. So, when
Yeah.
I'm working with clients, I try to understand what that trigger point is, and we navigate it through that.
Okay, I mean, can you say taking it back to your 7? So let's look at then what is something that as parents then that they can teach their kids or some kind of methods that they can teach their kids now that's going to benefit them since it's happening so young. It's happening for us. I didn't know 7.
Absolutely. Um, So one of the things that we can work on as parents, and I'm a mom, I actually have two girls, the ages of 8 and 12. And one of the biggest things that we're working on is to not make emotional financial decisions. So of course, the kids, we have chores for them, right? And when they get their money, they're super excited and they want to go spend it all. So whether it's fear, excitement, stress, or guilt, emotions really make expensive decisions. And that even starts when you're a kid. So helping them create systems that when they're calm and rational, they can run automatically. So I have an app that I leverage with my kids when they're doing their chores that will automatically save every week for them, that will give them a little bucket that allows them money to spend. So my 8-year-old was like, Mom, can I spend money on Roblox? Great. Do you have the money to spend on Robux? If you don't, let's don't. You want to make sure the system is in place so they don't even have to think about it. And that's
Yeah.
something that could benefit us as adults as well.
Yeah, well, teaching them, if we don't have restraint, how do we teach the restraint?
Exactly.
That's interesting. That's a hard one. You say like I have to stop, or if I'm a parent and I have to stop myself from making those emotional purchases, the planning that emotional vacation, or that emotional pair of shoes or purse, then how if I don't have the I can't do it for myself, how do I teach it to them? How do you explain that to an adult?
Right. And that's why you would connect with someone like me, because I help you navigate not only that for having conversations with your kids, but being able to understand how to do that with yourself. Because you're right, it is hard to teach someone something that you cannot implement yourself.
Yeah. So tell me because being on the behavioral side, what's something that you wish more people understood about their relationship between their emotions and their money?
The one thing that I would want them to understand about it is it's incredibly important that that you understand that you don't have to figure it all out. It's really about being consistent and not perfect. And a
Mm,
lot of times when people are trying to build something with money, they really focus on creating the perfection. And there isn't a perfect. It's what am I doing now that's going to move me to the next space, right?
mhm.
So again, it's about figuring out how we get those systems in place, figuring out the immediate changes that we have to make to get to that next level.
Yeah. The immediate changes are a lot of time to me like they're hard to see when they're your changes, when they're in your face. You're like, okay, well, I have to have everything feels like I have to have. So if I have to have everything on my budget list, then how do I filter in to make those changes, by yourself? Like,
It's tough. It's tough. One of the things that I do, one of the first things that I do when I sit down with the clients is ask them what their values are. So we go through this exercise where we go from 100 different things and we break it down to five. And then every decision that we go past then is based on what those five values are. And if there are things that we're trying to decide that don't fit in those five values, that's not the path that we take. But it's really an individualized journey. So a lot of times what people do is they'll sit down and they'll listen to financial information like they hear on TikTok or they will hear it on YouTube or something. And it's really great information, but because it doesn't align with who they are as an individual, it doesn't necessarily fit their journey.
mm.
So it's really about figuring it out for you.
I love that you say that because I have so many buyers that will come in that I ask them if they have a financial advisor and they're like, no, and they're on YouTube University or TikTok University and they're trying to follow things and talking to me about why they're not able to save for their down payment, but they have this influencer or less than just somebody out there giving financial advice that they're trying to follow that person but still wondering why they only have a couple of pennies saved for their down payment for their mortgage and they can't put the two together.
Right. It's just
That makes
general
sense.
advice. It's not tailored. And even myself, like when I'm giving advice, like on a platform like this, I'm not going to give a tailored solution to anybody because I don't know who that anybody that's hearing this is. When it's time for that conversation about you, it has to be with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I say that all the time too. Like people come to me with a certain mortgage program or certain, like I want to do this, I want to buy this foreclosure. Look, this person, or and I tell clients like if you see a video online, send it to me and let's talk about it. Like don't jump off the rails believing that that's the direction that you can go in. Send it to me and let's discuss it. And I've seen some videos where I'm like, what are they? What?
Exactly, exactly.
So, has there been anything out there that a client's come to you and said that's really blown your mind that you can remember that you're like, maybe let's not go in that direction that you can remember? I know I'm like picking at, you've been in this a while, so going back through your Rolodex of folks.
I mean, yeah, there's always things. For example, clients will come to me and they'll say, "Hey, I'm trying to do some debt consolidation. I want to take this loan out." And I'm like, "Does that make sense?"
Yeah.
Why? And I asked, like, why does this make sense for you? And a lot of times when we get to the meat of it, it really doesn't make sense. It makes them feel good right now, but then we start piecing together what those numbers look like in the long run, and they end up paying way more for the situation than they were going to, or than they should, when they do have the finances to take care of the debt that they were working on. So that's one thing. I had another client that was interested in investing, but didn't have the foundation up front. They wanted to immediately start investing.
Mhm.
But if we don't have like savings, right? If we don't have like 6, 9, 12 months savings, something that's comfortable for you, then how are we investing anything? Because
Mhm.
any move in the market could take out all of that you have. But because they're listening to what they're hearing on YouTube or TikTok or whatever, that's the move they want to make.
Mhm.
That's not your move.
That's
Sounds
not true.
great. But let's
Yeah.
talk about what we need to do for you.
Yeah, because your move could be different, your move could be better, your move but your move is going to be tailored to you
Exactly.
if you allow yourself to meet with someone that's going to give you that. But some people are scared, I find, when I talk to buyers and I'm talking to them about getting to the point of being able to purchase, and I always bring up, you have a financial advisor, and if they tell me, no, or not quite, some kind of gray area, I'm always okay. So well, why? Well, some of the answers are I'm scared. What are you scared of? I'm scared of what they may tell me. Have you ever heard that?
1,000%. A lot of people do avoid the conversation with a financial advisor because they have not heard the people around them have financial advisors. I grew up into a space where I didn't know what this was. And I didn't even get into this until after my grandfather, who was the patriarch of our family. And growing up, like I went to private school, I felt like everything was good. He passed away, and it was like meeting the Wizard of Oz. There was just so much left undone that I needed to understand how this money thing worked. But if I didn't take the time to navigate this myself, I wouldn't know. So I can only imagine the lack of conversations that families are having to understanding that these are people that should be in our lives. These are people that should be helping us elevate. These are people that should be talking to us so that we can create generational wealth. And when we're not having that, it's scary. These are scary waters to navigate on our own. So whether we are purchasing property, whether we are creating businesses, whether we're doing anything, like we want to make sure that we are connected with experts that can help guide us the best way for us to the next level.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I do see some agents get in the business and they take off and then their money's sitting in, their basic savings account. Like, but you could do so much
Absolutely.
more. So, what are some of those mistakes that you see people make when it comes to savings and investing?
One, yeah, keeping it in a savings account. There's
Hmm.
really no growth there, but understanding where it needs to go past there is really understanding what your goals are. So not talking to somebody is one of the biggest things that I see in any aspect, whether someone is in real estate or someone is wanting to get into real estate,
Hmm.
just trying to do this alone. That's one of the biggest mistakes.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Same on this end when people try to navigate their mortgages all on their own and they don't realize that there's a whole array of products and programs out there available. And if you're just willing to find the right person, interview and find the right person, you're fit. Not everybody is your fit, right? Not every client is your fit, I assume, right?
Absolutely.
Right. So it's just like you find your fit, you find the women that that appeal, whose energy appeals to you and whose values appeal to what you're offering, and people run with it. And I think as entrepreneurs, we know that not everybody's supposed to be our fit, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. How can
1,000%
people
agree.
balance that though? Enjoying life, making those, wanting to make those emotional purchases, or, going on that vacation, and also saving for retirement, especially those of us who are commission based. We're on the loan officer side, we're on the real estate side, we're wholesaling, we're investing something to where we may not have that steady cash flow paycheck every first and 15th. How do we balance that tug and pull of living life but saving for your future retirement?
Yes, really great question. It's really about understanding how to plan for it. If
Mm.
you know that your income is going to be cyclical, you take the past 12 to 24 months of business and you see what your overall rolling total is. And then you want to smooth it out to see, okay, what your average is. And then you want to base any plans on that. And again, you definitely want to sit down with a professional, go through what your goals are so we can strategize for what that looks like. Because if you want to go for a vacation, you want to splurge, let's put a splurge account together, right? If you want to make sure that you put some money down on a duplex, great. What does that strategy looks like? How do we get there? But if you're just riding from the seat of your pants and not making a plan, that is the quickest way to not have anything left.
Yeah, yeah. And that's like letting life take you. Like, you're on that surfboard, hold on, because it's
Exactly.
gonna take you for a ride.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I wish more people, well, I hope more people are going to hear you this way, because I wish more people got started earlier. And
Shoot,
especially
I started
in,
earlier. So yeah,
well, with the economy uncertain right now, I think it's uncertain for a lot of people, not everyone, but I know most of the people that are going to be listening are either wanting to get in real estate, or they're in the real estate industry, or they're wanting to invest, or wanting to purchase, but somewhere related to that. And for those of us looking at in real estate in general, it feels like the economy is uncertain, right? So, what's your advice in staying financially flourishing in this kind of uncertain feeling? We don't know. I mean, it could be better, but we don't know what's going to happen.
absolutely. And no one has a crystal ball. We never know what's going to happen. And crazy things are on a year to year, day to day basis. But resilience really comes from understanding how you operate under stress. So again, it's about you. So some people panic sell
Mm-hmm.
everything. So whether that's real estate, whether that is investments in the market, and others freeze and do absolutely nothing, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the people who weather uncertainty have predetermined responses. They know what they'll do before the emotion comes in. So that's about that planning again. You want to think about, okay, how am I leveraged? How am I diversified? How do I ensure that no matter what happens, I'm good? And if you don't know what that looks like, again, you want to talk to somebody who understands the markets.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, for somebody just starting out on their savings journey, what really matters most for them? Is it the actual amount they're putting away? What what should they be focusing on there?
Absolutely. Okay. Well, the where really matters less than the how. So I've seen people really build significant wealth starting with just $50 a month because
Hmm.
they automated it and never touched it. So it's really about the habit of consistently setting aside money, regardless of the amount. And that builds the identity of someone who prioritizes their future.
I like that, the identity. And once you can hold that identity, you can build from there.
Absolutely. It just is who you are at this point.
I love that.
And
I
then
love that. I
as your
didn't think
income
about it that
grows, it
fast.
can grow, and that's just who you are.
Yeah, yeah. So now you're already in that habit, and you feel I'm not telling myself something I'm not. I'm doing it, even if it's my $50 a month.
Absolutely.
I love that. So what's something that costs people way more money than they realize, that you see being working with all the women that you've worked with over the years?
That costs way more money than people realize. Long-term care. one of the biggest oversights that
I'm
people
not
don't
gonna lie,
do.
that's my big dread too, long-term care. Having had two senior parents and seeing their need and I currently have a client base of seniors that are aging and seeing their needs and seeing how unprepared their kids are for themselves, they're unprepared, and then their kids are unprepared. Talk
Yeah.
about long-term care. Oh my God, you hit it.
It's incredibly unfortunate, and a lot of people will think, well, I have because of my 401k, I've got like $1 million saved, I've got 2 million and everything. But we're in California, so the average cost of a long-term care facility is 6 figures per year. Like that doesn't include all of the extras that get tacked on. So, for example, you pay extra for bathing, you pay extra for them giving them medication, you pay extras for a whole bunch of things, so that money gets bled out over the years. And then what?
Hmm.
Then what? Where's that wealth that our parents and grandparents worked hard built? It's going to their long-term care. Now, if we pre-plan, again, planning, we pre-plan for this journey, then we're not bleeding out the wealth that they built. We've got a strategy that's going to take care of our elders as they go through this transition.
Ooh, when long-term care, girl, you hit it there for me. I didn't even think about going there today, but yeah, that's so big. When should somebody start preparing for long-term care? And do you prepare for just yourself, or are you looking at yourself and your parents that you know aren't preparing?
Yeah, for sure. No, the sooner the better. So typically we start thinking about long-term care in the mid 40s and things because you
Mm.
want to have employment to start funding this. And that's something that they take a look at is what income you have coming in so that you know how much you're looking for replacement for this long-term care strategy. So yeah, the sooner the better. But if it is a situation to where we're looking for a parent, again, the earlier the better. So if they're in their 60s, because we start to taper off the ability to add into a long-term care policy past a certain point.
Didn't know that either.
Mhm.
Okay, I better get my mid 40 bed on to start looking.
And if your long-term care solution is real estate, just understand what that looks like for you. Are we going to sell real estate later? Are we going to transition it into a different cash generating income? And if, again, you don't know what that looks like, talk to someone who can help you navigate what that looks like.
Yeah. Long-term care is a big deal that people overlook so bad. I know we did in my family, like I said, we did. Assumed we were ready, but I've seen people sell homes, put $250,000 towards mom's care and not realize like, dang, she's still here 10 years later. That's money's gone now what?
Yeah.
So I think that's a multi-leg strategy for that rather than just focusing on real estate. I've seen people have real estate as their long-term care plan and run out of money.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's
Why
crazy
not
to
the
me.
plan and
Yeah.
consultations about the plan?
Yeah. And I'm sure they didn't have a communication with a financial advisor about it. They just said, well, mom owns property. When she needs it, we'll sell it and we'll use that money to care. Not having somebody like you to go, okay, that is what potentially how much will you get? Potentially how long will that last you? Okay, here's what that looks like. Here's what the costs are. Here's what inflation looks like. Here's when you may potentially run out of money. So here's another option we need to put in place.
Absolutely. And we're not considering the taxes on that and everything. Like, yeah, if she has a $2 million property, that's great. But what does that tax look like from there? Is it actually $2 million? Is it like, what are we actually looking at? And
Yeah.
important to talk about the numbers.
Very important to talk about the numbers and talk with somebody other than just the family about it.
Yeah.
To get the siblings around the kitchen table, bring in the advisor.
Hmm.
So I know you said the amount isn't important. Somebody can start with $50, but still it can feel overwhelming. So if somebody's feeling overwhelmed about anything that we just talked about getting started, what do you suggest where do they go? What's their step one?
The step one is really about not trying to do everything at once. You want to immediately focus on the one thing you can do right now. So, one financial behavior that you can automate. Try it this week. So, not optimize, automate. So, maybe
Mm,
it's move $50 every Friday into savings. The goal isn't about the perfect amount, it's about proving to yourself that you can follow through on something. And then when you're done with that thing, it feels comfortable because you've done it for a while. Then you can move to the next thing.
got it. Got it. Okay, I love it. Step one, baby steps, as we like to say, the old mantra.
Absolutely.
So, being that this is your field and we're on Real Talk, I like to just, let's just be blunt about it. What's your one real big money move that you feel like you've made that's made a difference for you financially?
Great. So the one thing that I've made is start understanding that I could create wealth before I was ready. So I am a variable income woman. Before getting into finance, I was just real estate. And so I understood that it's a struggle out here in these streets, right? Not understanding when the next paycheck was going to come because the deals fall through, but understanding that it was incredibly important to me that I was still building something for later. I mean, like I said, I have these two kids and I want to show them what creating wealth looks like. So the biggest thing for me was doing that.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Being that example too for them.
Exactly.
I love it. Thank you for that. So, how can our audience connect with you if they want to catch up with you after listening to our podcast?
Great question. So I did just start a Substack, super pumped about it. It is financially flourishing, so you can find me on Substack there. If you're on Instagram, it's underscore financially flourishing underscore. And if you're on LinkedIn, you can find me at Ariel Bowie, my name.
I love it. Thank you so much for that, Ariel. So, leave us with a parting, let's say, what's your mantra? Maybe you have give us something that we can speak into ourselves. What does Ariel have to say to us?
Okay. Your mindset creates the foundation, but implementation builds the wealth. So you can't think your way to financial security. You have to build systems that work even when your motivation fails. So stop trying to be perfect and start being consistent.
I love that. Oh, you're hot. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much, Ariel. Really appreciate it. I know people are going to be bombarding you with questions after this because everything that you've given is just leading us to go, yeah, let me start. Let me get going. I need this. So I thank you so much for taking your time out. It's been
Thank you,
fun.
Melina. It has been absolutely incredible. All right, everyone.